hell were we doing last? I can't remember. Have we got any stages in orbit to deorbit? Hello, Jackson. Thank you for coming back. I've only just started streaming tonight. All right, we got this. Because I haven't streamed for a couple of days, have I? Because it's been incredibly warm here. How are you, anyway? Right, let me try and start that script. Run there. Right, now the chat script. Oh, now the chat script has got an error. Let's see. The Google API, the YouTube API is broken, so the chat script isn't going to work. Yeah, the Google API is broken, so the chat script isn't going to work. So it's not going to pick up on chat names. So the script up here is not going to pick up on chat names. Authenticated user cannot something on Google account. Reason, account delegation forbidden, whatever that is. Hello, Gary Blue. I'll just say hello and good night. I'm camping with my family. Smelly by smoke and wind on the east of the Scottish borders. East of the Scottish borders. Nice. Good week to do it. Although I don't know what the weather's like up there. It's been absolutely boiling down here. But yeah, it must have been. Is it the first night of your camping trip, or have you been there all week? I mean, you don't have to tell me. You don't have to respond. I wish that KSP was multiplayer sometimes, but I don't know how that would work. I don't know how it works. There are mods. What am I looking for? I'm confused now because I haven't played KSP in a week, and I'm confused. What am I doing? We're all right. See you later, Gary Blue. I forgot what the hell we're doing. Right, we're going to deorbit this. Real Rocky. Queen Lover. That rocket was promised to me 3,000 years ago. Oh. I was there 3,000 years ago. The first night here before 3 nights on the west. She's been out for a few days. First night here before 3 nights on the west. I miss going on holiday. Though I probably wouldn't camp. I'd go on. It's coming home. This stage would be coming home now. I gotta try and remember how to bring this home. Right, if we have 5 there. Right, let's quick save and we'll do the deorbit burn. Traveling. Yeah, I miss traveling. Okay, here's deorbit burn. Let's get the fuel tanks up so we can control central gravity. Okay, I got the station parts expansion redux mod. Made really cool station. It even has a centrifuge. Is it working centrifuge? Yeah, I think I mentioned in one of the other previous streams. Like in real life, you need a counterweight going in the opposite direction in order to maintain stability. Because if you have a spinning part on a space station, you need a counterweight going the other way in order to keep it stable. Right, night night, Gary. See you again. Enjoy your holiday. Yeah, that's something it's like missing from science fiction, isn't it? Well, I mean, one science fiction that did have a centrifugal section in order to create gravity with a counterweight was what's the movie? The movie of 2001 from the book, and the starship Discovery 1 actually had a centrifuge section and a counterweight, if you have a look at the schematics. That's because it was designed by a person who actually designed spacecraft. The author of the book was actually a satellite designer. And he knew his stuff. They actually made a stuck centrifuge, but if you time warped and went into tracking center, it would remove it. Have you ever heard of AV Assembly? I saw what it was this week. No, I haven't heard of AV Assembly. No, never heard of it. 2001 was my favourite movie. It was a very good movie. It was a bit confusing if you don't understand it's about aliens and stuff, but it is a bit confusing. But yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good movie by a good author. A good author who knows his stuff. In fact, Discovery 1 is very similar to, because the director and the author worked together on the movie, and it was originally meant to have what's it called? I was thinking of design of Discovery 1, the starship. It was originally meant to have cooling fins on it and cooling arrays, but the director told, was it Arthur C. Clarke, to get rid of them. Well, he's not going to keep them on the model for the movie because people will think it's wings and think it's flying. And he said it'll misrepresent what they are. It's like KSP without spacecraft in the VAB. Oh, it's another AV assembly. Oh, okay. Because there's a few aviation games, like model aircraft games. I believe one of the original developers of Kerbal Space Program, went and did his own model aircraft thing, didn't he? Well, we're not getting this thing back to KSC, are we? Yeah, no. I've got a small fly on my monitor. I'm tempted to try and land it in the water without parachutes, but no, we're under 2000 now. Yeah, that's Kitten Space Agency. It was actually made by a multiple of original creators. Yeah, I still haven't looked up Kitten Space Agency, but there was another game. I'm sure there's another game with like model aircraft. I'm sure there's another game by one of the early developers that with model aircraft they use a very similar system for building aircraft. It's going to fall over and break now. Oh, no, it will stay in one piece. Do you reckon Queen Lover is a bot? Do you reckon? The game was developed by Jelabooge. Jelabooge. No, I don't. That name doesn't ring a bell to me. Right, what are we going to do? It's like that SpaceX landing. Yeah, they do the test landings in the sea. SpaceX and Blue Origin did it with one of theirs, didn't they? Didn't Blue Origin do it as well? Land it in the water? Or did they not? I can't remember. But Blue Origin have got a lot of cleanup work to do though. Their launch pad at the actual KSC. What am I looking for? Eat. Kerbal Eater 3000. This is what I wanted to work on. 1000A. Queen Lover, are you a bot? Are you here to incite attention or grab attention? I'm looking for robotics. Hinge, where's the hinge? Hinge, not that hinge. That hinge. Google said it's a spiritual successor. What's that? The Kitten Space Program or Kitten Space Agency? I'm coming back. Really? Yeah. Don't like clipping that. I don't want to make sure it looks realistic. You know, like clipping word letters just doesn't look realistic. Let's put that there. Now, how loose are these hinges? Right, let's do that. AV assembly. AV assembly. Should I look that up? AV assembly. AV assembly. Let me just look it up. AV assembly. Sandbox simulation game that allows players to design, build and plot their own aircraft in an open world environment. Oh, it's on Steam. Hang on, let me have a look at the Steam page. Let me have a look at the Steam page. There's a bird flying. Hang on. If I do that, you can see what I'm looking at. So it's AV assembly. Oh, it looks cool. Yeah, it does Kerbal-like, isn't it? Okay, it's interesting. There's only one there, isn't there? Yeah. What are we looking for? I'm looking for a girder. We've got power. Yes, we do have power. Let's just do a little test. Philippe Phalange is the main designer. Yeah, that's the name I was thinking of. I think, isn't Real Rocky, if Real Rocky's still here, isn't Felipe the person who actually came up with the Kerbal concept in the first place? Life is like... See, that works. It swings outwards. That's what I wanted to know. See, the little girders swing outwards. So that does work. You know, they're swinging. That's what I wanted to test. Also, me and my brothers is real time, so I'm waiting for this mission to Minmus to arrive at the counter. Okay. Oh, you're playing on another monitor, are you? Or another window. Let's recover this. Done. The mission will arrive tomorrow. Well, yeah, if you're in real time, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, if you're in real time. Okay, alright. See you in a bit. I'll see you again, Jackson. Right, so we got this. Looking for. Let's get rid of that. Stick girder on there. Girder. Girder's not long enough, is it? Is there a bigger girder than that? Is there a bigger girder than that? Save. I made Space Station KSP, Polish cow. And a master docking, let's go, nice. Such an achievement when you master docking. It is it's an incredible achievement, because I mean it seems really unfamiliar and complex at first when you don't understand docking, but then when you get it, it just clicks at one time, at one point, and then yeah, it suddenly becomes awesome, doesn't it? I mean, that's one of the beauties of Kerbal Space Program, is that you do get a feeling of achievement on achieving things. Never one be better. Actually, let's go back to that girder there. Let's do that again. Oh, see, I got two girders there. We want to remove from symmetry, right? Let's get rid of that one. Just do it on one side. You can see Minmus very clearly now. Also, nice job, College Cow. Here's a tip. If you have an RCS, if you don't have RCS, you can use Matt Lone's patented friendly lazy docking method. Because there is a mod to tell you to help you actually place RCS, and I don't use it, do I? But yeah, sometimes it's awkward when you're building a craft and placing the RCS in exactly the right place. Right, robotics. What are we after? Structural panel. Okay. Is that the right one? Is that the one we had? Seems too big. That's better. Okay, let's go back to these structural panels. I'm sure there's a better way of doing this. There's got to be a better way of doing this. Is that really the smallest triangular piece? It's too big. Wing section maybe? It's too big. It's too big. We got that. Where is it? That. Well, that might work. That might work. And I'll re-chat now. Re-chat now, concentrating on this. Okay, because back. Hi, Jackson. Get it to the right node. Oh. What do you think about the iron engine? Well, it's a realistic engine, so I'm actually willing to use it, but it is a bit slow and awkward to use. But you can use it for very small probes. I haven't used it a lot, to be honest. See what my idea was. I had this idea earlier. I just thought, little thing. Right, let's test it without Kerbals. I've got some iron probes that I want to deorbit, but then I'd like to replace them. They've got fuel on board. I'd like to replace them with a newer ion probe and take the fuel off them. Amazing combined with the pomegranate re-entry module, because the module always like £half. Yay! All we got to get now is Kerbals aboard. Okay, what are we doing? Let's try that again with Kerbals. I wonder if it's possible to have a Kerbal actually enter and exit. We're gonna which Kerbals we're gonna do? Stick a pilot on there. Pilot training, so we need an inexperienced pilot. Lenol's going on there. Okay, F5. F5. Locked. But locked, it always goes sideways, as if you're in orbit, I guess. Auto. So what did it try and in camera on the Kerbals? I was hoping for it to be fixed on one of the Kerbals. Free chase. In camera. He named the plane Evil Plane. My brother killed all the Kerbals in his space plane he made, minus Bill, Bob, and Val. Yes, Jeb is dead permanently. My Jeb is dead permanently as well. He named the plane Evil Plane because of it. Sorry, I'm just enjoying this. Okay, that's enough messing with this. Enough messing with this. Yeah, I was just thinking just then whether one of our easy to fly space planes, one of our easy to fly normal planes, could be taken into space, because our actual space plane's a bit awkward to fly, isn't it? There are no contracts. Cover twin bore engine in flight above Kerbin. VIP to his destinations. Ike, he's not going to Ike. 6 tourists. Right, Minimus Moon. Orbit around the moon. Moon. Do we get loads of cash for this? I hope so. Where's the cash? Completion. There we go. Oh, somebody wants to go to Ike as well. You're not going to Ike. Recover parts. Tourists. Moon, 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 moon. 2 tourists to the moon. We could do that, couldn't we? Science data from surface of the moon. Right, well, let's get a quick set of money. I mean, we still need to build a base on the moon, because we've got a base on Minmus. Because we could do with building something which we can sit on the moon. Alright, one of my early probes, Moonlander. This is one of my early probes. I think it's the first thing I landed on the moon. It's still here. We were talking about iron probes earlier. We got a couple of iron probes which are in orbit, and I want to deorbit them or replace them with a new ion probe. So this is the first thing I landed on the moon. So we take a temperature. It's got science experiments on it. Log temperature, and then we just bring up, transmit it, and then it's going to get that. We're going to get that, aren't we? Log temperature. Overwrite temperature scan. Transmit. That's what we need. Done. There you go. Bit of cheap cash. Is the microphone on? Yeah, the microphone is on. Okay, moon base, moon base, moon base. What are we going to do with the moon base? Should we get science? Come on, load, load. Because if we can get a science lab that's on the moon, get a science lab. What's a science lab? Where's a science lab? Science. Mobile processing. Now, what's the way up? What's the right way up, isn't it? That's laying down. I believe that's the right way up. Like that. With the letters, right? So how would we get one of these this way up on the moon? How would we get one of these this way up on the moon as like a moon base? As a moon base module, we can try and expand it with habitations. Because we got. Where's the other thingy? What's it called? Science. What's science? Is it utility structural? I mean, if you get it into Minmus, like what I did, you probably could land on the moon. What's the other module that has Kerbals? I've got a silly idea of turning this into a giant rover. I'll stick it as a lander for the time being. Passenger module, that's the one, hitchhiker storage, that's what I was thinking of. Hitchhiker storage. It's going to be too tall, isn't it? Well, let's just go with this. Just go with this. What's the largest grip pad? Hitchhiker storage container, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. It's just to house more Kerbals. Name it nice plane. Well, the idea is it's going to be a lander for the moon. You know, just stick it on the moon. But the thing is, we don't know whether this is going to be on level ground. Because the moon hasn't got flat bits like Minmus. Yes, then the Kerbals can't get aboard. See, what I've got on my other landers, I've got like legs, but attach the legs to the top. Use a probe to find a flat place. Yeah, I guess we could do that. We could do that, and then land there, and then like just then home in on the probe. We could do that. Seems too big, doesn't it? Still need a way of driving it around, don't we? Stick a little seat on top, I guess. Of course, we still need an engine to actually land it on the moon as well. We still need motors and rocket fuel tanks and it's more like it. Needs a probe core. Now it's the one with the 3 in it. That's the front. So there's three sets of chips. There's 2 chips, so I believe the 3 is the front. And then a docking port. Can't tell which way is the top on the docking port. There's no arrow, is it? It's like, guess it doesn't matter. Moon base 1. Do you really have a rocket exhaust outside a window like that? Would you? It's that grip pad again. How do you change radial? R. There you go. X. It's not quite the same, is it? It's not tall enough for a Kerbal to grip it. No, I want it to be more even than that. Is that going to be straight, you reckon? Okay, mass. Fuel tanks. That ended up better than I expected. Lights. We could do with lights. Utility lights. I haven't worked out how the hell we're going to get this thing to the moon yet. We need to know whether the Kerbals can get in or out. So let's grab a random Kerbal. Thistle's going in. Oh, we still need the control wheel thing on there as well, don't we? To control it on the way down. Right, now can the Kerbals grab onto it? Yes, they can. Well, they are the right way up. They're not going to be upside down. Okay, seems good. Now all we need is like control wheels. Hang on, my cat is in the room, so I need to give her some treats, I think. Oh, she's found her food. I found her food. I'll get my feet off the buffet then, just in case she wants to sit on the buffet. Is there anything else we need on here? I think it's fine. Let's try and get to the moon. A backseat gamer is a sort of person who's trying to tell me what to do. You know, a person constantly trying to influence what's going on. In other words, you know, they're not if they're trying to play the game without actually having the game. Does that make any sense? Like backseat driver? Have you heard the term backseat driver? So none of these are going to work because we've got the grip on the bottom. So how are we going to get this? The only way we're going to get this into orbit is to turn it around. I'll just mute you or block you from the channel, that's all. Oh well, you haven't done anything yet, Rainbow Gemstone. Thank you for being here though. Thank you for popping in. Anyway, what is this game? Kerbal Space Program. Kerbal Space Program. It's originally a sandbox game. It's about making spacecraft or aircraft even. And let's just save that. Launcher. Save. And I didn't want to click launch. But we can you can launch spacecraft or build aircraft. The idea is it's a physics sandbox simulation that can mimic real world physics. And when you get into space, when you get into orbit, you actually can use real world orbital mechanics, or as close as it is simulated. What's Q spacecraft? What do you mean by what's Q spacecraft, or is that a typo? What's a orbit? An orbit. Right, if we go here to the tracking station, we can see all the spacecraft and space stations we got in orbit. So these are all the orbital tracks of where we've got things in orbit. We've got a space station there. Where's one of the tugs? One of the tugs. Ferret. Small survey scanner, station 1. There you go. That's one of our tugs. Let's fly that. So the idea is that it'll simulate real orbital mechanics. Why is the planet round and not flat? Because it is. Because it's a planet. So unlike other space games and simulation games, it's not necessarily the direction you're pointing in, it's the direction you're going, because it'll accurately or simulate orbital mechanics. Like if we do a prograde forward burn here, it won't change our orbit here, but it'll actually raise the orbit on the other side of the planet. Are you a bot by any chance, Rainbow Gemstone? Because we had a few problems with bots in the channel. You can tell the bots because they always ask awkward questions, or they don't talk properly. You're not okay. Oh, so these are the vehicles in orbit. The white lines are the tracks that they are on. Just didn't know. Okay. Well, the game tries to simulate orbital mechanics. Like if we do a burn on this side of the orbit, actually, right? If we do a prograde burn, which is the direction we're actually traveling in, then it's going to raise the orbit on the other side, and this is what would happen in real life on the real spacecraft. Hi Wen, I was just trying to explain to Rainbow Gemstone about how orbital mechanics and how the game tries to... How did they get there? Well, I'll show you now. If we go back to the Space Center, if we go back to the Space Center, we could launch a rocket. We can, because I played the career game, so we got extra things to juggle, like money and reputation inside the game. It takes a while to load because yeah, I got a lot of stuff in space, a lot of vehicles going around at the same time. Right, if we take on a small contract. Right, recover unit from orbit of Kerbin. Let's go do that. What's a rocket? So we've just taken a contract to recover a component from space and bring it back to the planet, bring it back to Kerbin, and I've got a vehicle to do that, number 72. 72D3, I think it is. 72D3. This is one of my rocket designs. You can build rockets in the game and fly them, essentially. Launch that. Big blasty thing, like in movies. Wait till it loads, wait till it loads. It's taking a while to load. I know we need to deorbit some of the stuff we've got to try and speed up the orbit. So we go. There's our rocket. Control throttle. Press F5 to do a quick save. And now all I have to do is hit space and we start launching. And then the altitude up here, this is the altitude, we'll start climbing. And once we get over 70,000, we're in space, but albeit not in orbit. What that is, you know, wait till we get rid of the SRBs and I'll read it. Got the altitudes down here. Once those two figures are over 70,000, we're in orbit, but if only one of them is over 70,000, then we're not in orbit. The reason why we're turning over is because we want to extend how far we're going, because the idea is to go that direction, not up. If we go to the map view, you can see that's the path we're going to be travelling along. Okay, you got to go when? I'll see you after, or see you again. 6% battery, oh 6% battery, that's what you meant by 6%, okay. So this number here is the altitude. Once it gets over 70,000 we're in space. However, this is only the top of our path, and there's another side which is periapsis, P, and we need them both over 70,000 to be in orbit. Yeah, we just go really fast in order to get into orbit. I mean, that's how you really, in real life, get into orbit. You go really fast. It's like if you threw a ball fast enough, it would get into orbit. Or get into space anyway, but you'd have to throw it really fast. So once that goes over 70,000, then we're in space. Once that goes over 70,000, but I tend to, in order to keep it safe, keep it over 80,000. 77, 78, 80, 81. There we go. Now periapsis is at 26, so we need to do a second burn at the apoapsis at that point. And then it'll raise periapsis, so they're both over 70,000. And once they're both over 70,000, we're not going to fall back through the atmosphere to the planet. That's a bit of a silly question. Sounds like you're not trying to be serious. You're not very good at making jokes if you're not trying to be serious. Actually, you sound like a really poor troll, to be honest. I'm tempted just to mute you. Why can't I throw a ball into space? Because you can't impart enough energy into it from your own physical muscles. Well, if you... How long is a piece of string? You know what? I'm just going to mute you from the channel. There. Honestly, if people want to troll, you've got to be a bit more creative. Anyway, if there are lurkers, then just to describe, we're currently on a suborbital trajectory. Once this gets over 70,000, we're in space, but we'll still be on a path coming back. So we'll have to do a second burn. This is a coast phase now. If you watch a real space launch, there'll often be a coast phase with the second stage, and they'll do a second burn at apoapsis in order to raise the periapsis to get something into orbit, because once those two figures are over 70,000, then we're in orbit. Because at the moment, if we didn't do a second burn, we would come straight back down to the planet, because this is within the atmosphere periapsis. So once you get over 70,000, then we're in space and outside the atmosphere. And in real life, the atmosphere just like gradually gets thinner and thinner and thinner. With inside the Kerbal Space Program in the game, there is a hard limit at 70,000. Though it does get thinner as you go up, there is a hard limit where there's no atmosphere at 70,000. But that's only in Kerbal Space Program, not in real life. There's like real spacecraft. Take the space station, for instance. There is a tiny bit of drag on it. There's tiny, like very few atoms of air at that altitude, but there are still atoms of air, and they do hit it, and they do make it slow down, and you will have to, and it does need a periodic boost to a higher altitude in order to keep it in space. But the higher you are, the less often you need to do that, to a point that there's so little drag that because even out in deep space there will be the odd molecule going around on the to slow you down, but it'll be very few and far between. I mean, there'll be the huge distances between. Very few. Right, we're almost ready to do the second burn. We do that at apoapsis, and that raises the path of our orbit on the other side of the planet from where we are. You can look up gyroscopic precession and all that, where the energy we impart over here actually has an effect of our path on the other side of the planet. Go, we're in space. It didn't do much of a burn. We didn't do much. 93 by 80. That's okay. It's fine. Extend solar panels. Right, well, I've built that launch stage so it's still got fuel aboard, and we can actually bring this back. That's the way I've built it. Right, we have this contract to try and pick up this piece from orbit. There it is there. Sets target. So before we can try and get to our target, we need to make sure our orbital inclinations match. What's your craft's purpose? Right, KHG Gaming, the purpose of this craft is to grab space junk from orbit and bring it back to the planet. So we've got this grapple on the front. Disarm that because you don't need it at the moment. And there's a piece of junk there, the question mark. So we're just going to adjust our orbit and try and get to it and try and pick it up. So our orbits are quite close. So I'm looking for a node here. This one here. It says descending node. It says there. And we've got a 0.7 degrees difference in inclination. So we need to do a burn to change our inclinations. Like asteroids are old craft. Yeah, that's an old piece of junk rather than an asteroid. But yeah, we've got this contract up here to try and bring it back to the planet Kerbin. So right, that's a descending node there. So we've got our inclination. So the inclination is lower compared to our own orbit on this side and higher compared to our own orbit on this side of the planet. So at this point, if we do a burn, we need to be pointing upways. A cruise missile design, that sounds good. Got a few cruise missile designs. KHG Gaming. Yeah, well, the thing I was trying to explore once before in Kerbal Space Program is how a lot of missiles, especially surface-to-air missiles, I'm not so sure about cruise missiles, they have a strange control method where the main wing moves rather than the tail planes. And I have experimented with that in Kerbal Space Program and tried to work out how it works, and it just seems really awkward. And I'm still trying to get my head around why there's a number of missile designs that use that strange control method. Like my favourite missile, for instance, is the Bristol Bloodhound, which it launches with 4 solid rocket motors, and then hang on, I'm just doing the inclination burn here, so we're going to wait for that inclination to change. Yeah, the Bristol Bloodhound, it launches with 4 solid rocket motors, which then drop away, and then it's got 2 sustainer motors, which are actually scramjets. Can't figure out space planes. You'll get it if you said you've only been playing. Was it 3 weeks? Is it 3 weeks since you started playing? You'll get it. I mean, one of the good things about Kerbal Space Program is you can build something that doesn't work, and then you change something, or you change your workflow of how you fly it, and every time you use something, you fly something or build something, you're always learning. Eventually, you'll get to the point where it works. And few other games have that, I think. Hellfire. No, hang on, I'm going to have to look up Hellfire a sec. I'm going to have a look up Hellfire missiles. EGM 140. I'm looking for a picture. Right, Hellfire. Right, a Hellfire. A Hellfire's got the controls at the back by the looks of it. It's got the controls at the back. Yeah, but there's a lot of missiles, so they've got controls in the middle, and the back is fixed, and that's the bit I was trying to talk about earlier. Use the wings like blades. I'm trying to see what that noise is in my room. I'm going to change our orbits a bit so that there's more difference in our orbits. Blades as fins for control. Okay. To make it have a fireball, I use fuel tanks and use the aerospike engines and the spud. Okay. There's yeah, I'm just doing this adjustment. No, if we do this maneuver here, it'll put us within 0.7 kilometers of our target. I've only played like 14 hours because I'm on vacation. A few people are on vacation this week. A few of my other viewers are on vacation. It's that time of year, isn't it? But honestly, I've been playing Kerbal for a long time. I know I've got videos on this channel from 11 years ago playing Kerbal Space Program. So yeah, it's a game that'll just, once you start seeing progression, it'll just suck you in and you want to do a little bit more and a little bit more. It's a good game, Kerbal Space Program. You got a long way to go. And then the achievements, like your first landing on the moon, your first docking, or even when you first get into orbit, it's a good sense of achievement. So, all right, I got 29.5 meters per second burn here. So I'm going to wait. So that's our craft there. We're going to wait till we get a little bit closer to our maneuver node. Use a little bit of throttle. Oh, our throttle's not working again. Oh, why is it not working? There we go. How's that? Start to orbit. Just that. Right, where's our periapsis? Oh, our periapsis is in the atmosphere, which is a bit annoying. Radial out. There we go. Okay. I'm not a very good rocket designer, but I'm a good bomb designer. If you can't be one, you can always be another. And a huge weapon designer. It sounds like you really like weapons. And you use BDA Armory. Yeah, a lot of people use BDA Armory. I don't use it myself, but yeah, it's does open up other exploration possibilities with weapons, doesn't it? Right, so I've changed the nav board now to change to have show our attitude relative to our target, and retrograde relative to our target. So once we move by our target, we can do a burn here and try and come alongside it. This figure down here is the meters per second difference between ourselves and our target. So once that shows our relative velocities. So we need to get that down to 0 as when we are going close to it. Yeah, I was saying the other day, inclination burns are once you've got the inclination burn down, it's much easier to actually get close to your targets and get things into space. And it comes in time. It comes in time as you're just experimenting. As you just experiment, it does come in time, but it does take a lot of experimentation. It does take a lot of experimentation, and a lot of things will go wrong. It's like we're only 600 meters away. But I can remember times in the past when this will be kilometers and kilometers away, and I was spending ages trying to get close to it and never get there. And it's really frustrating sometimes, but eventually get to it. Right, so I've enabled the RCS, and we can use H to HNJKL are the translational controls rather than rotational controls. So we can move towards it. So the figure will be going down slowly. We can see on the nav ball, which is the orange is the green is our path, and the purple is our target. So we can just use the RCS to jink our path around, so we move towards our target. I tried doing the asteroid catch tutorial and got launched out of the system. Oh, it's too easy to get launched out of the system, isn't it? Right, there's a component we've got to grab. So I'm using, I'm not using WASD, I'm using JK and L because it's holding our attitude pointing at our target. So I'm using JK, L and I, and also H and N as the translational controls on the RCS rather than WASD, WASD. They just allow you to maneuver, to accurately maneuver. These are the RCS blocks, and they're like small rocket engines, just allow you to maneuver. So I'm aiming for this flat bit on the pod there. Aiming for the flat bit. How do you mean? Have you got any RCS? Have you got any RCS? See, that's a fuel tank. We need an RCS fuel tank and things like that. And a probe core, there's a probe core there, and reaction wheels, which all help with the controls, controlling it. Boop, got it. So we can turn RCS off now. It's R key. Turn RCS off. Now make sure we got control here with the probe core. So control from here. This is mostly stock, by the way. The only thing that's not stock on here is those lights there. So you're going to burn it up? Yeah, no. What I'm going to do, this contract says to recover unit on Kerbin. So what I'm going to do is bring it back to Kerbin. Bring it back to the planet in one piece. Because this space probe I've got has actually got parachutes on it. So once we get over the space center, we can fire the parachutes and just bring it down gently. That's the way this particular probe works, and that's why I've got the retractable the solar panels so they don't break off. Okay, extend the solar panels again. And there's spare docking ports in case we need to add fuel or it needs to spend extended time in space. We've got communications as well. That's another thing you need to remember as well. Also power, there's a battery there, you need power. There's an RCS block there. So there's more stuff into it. It's not just add a rocket, a fuel tank and an engine on the end. There's a lot more. No, there's no Kerbonauts. That component there, the remote guidance unit, functions as a probe core. So it functions as a space probe, a robotic space probe rather than have a Kerbal aboard. That component there. Now I'm not. This is the Korea game. This is the Korea game. So there you go. Our money is there. I'm playing Korea. So every time I launch, if you're in the stock standard sandbox game, money has no meaning. But in the game that I'm playing, money does have a meaning. Right. This is why I've taken this contract to grab this piece of junk here, because I need the money from it in order to keep launching stuff. Because what we're going to do, we're going to bring this back. Because this thing we just grabbed is just a piece of junk for a contract. That's the contract we took. But if you're on the stock sandbox game, you don't need to take contracts. Contracts are just a way, in the Korea game, a contract is a way of you to get money, essentially, in-game money, which is there. I got 1,379,279 Kerbal bucks, and that's the science I've got unused, and that's the reputation. So you got money, reputation, science. Do you have a comms relay? That's actually one of the problems I've got in my game. I need more comms relay. There's a communications aerial there. But I do need more communications satellites to relay the communications. That's one of the things. Because I've actually been playing this save since before they introduced communications in the game, into Kerbal Space Program. So I've actually got probes which are out there in deep space, or out there in the solar system, which have got no control because they don't have communications on them. Right, let's set this to retrograde and bring this thing back. I would do a diamond thing. Because if we go here, we can see, right, if we click that, we can see all the communications. There you go, there's all the communications. So I do have stuff in orbit. Like I did try to have like 3 there. That's what you mean. It's like 3 or 4 communication satellites, but I didn't quite get their orbits perfectly aligned. But I do need to have more communication satellites, because sometimes when we're out on Minmus, I do lose signal. Rotary missile launcher. I think that's one of the things we got on the to-do list. We did try to do a missile launcher. When we get back, if you're still here, I'll show you one of my missile launchers we were working on the other day, if I remember. Okay, let's do this deorbit burn. I'm going to lower the... we can do it from there, can't we? We could lower the apoapsis a little bit. Yeah, we could lower the apoapsis a bit to give us a safer deorbit. Right. I tend to do the deorbit burn from about 80 by 80 in the apoapsis periapsis. So if we do a burn here just to lower the apoapsis a little bit, let's watch that number go down. That'll do. Press F5 to save. There's a small hinge thing, and you can use that as a lid for a silo. Yeah. Yeah, there are hinges in the game. There are hinges in the game. I was making a merry-go-round earlier with the hinges, and the hinges were just flapping about. Okay, let's do this deorbit. F5 is a quick save, by the way. I do the deorbit burn between this mountain range and the crater, so it's right by here. Hi, Lucas. Okay, because we're doing the deorbit burn from a reasonably low orbit, we don't need a heat shield. Whereas if we did a deorbit burn from out here, then we would need heat shield because we'd be coming in faster, relatively faster. So I aim for the path to enter the Kerbin here because this is a career game. The closer we land to the space center or one of the runways, then we get more money back from return parts. You sound a little ill. I am a little ill. I'm ill all the time. Yes, HKG Gaming, I am a little ill. I've got lots of ailments. I think it's just from talking a lot tonight, to be honest. But I've got skin problems and all sorts. ASD, PDA. Okay, we're below 70,000 now, so we're in the atmosphere. So we can do the physics warp. So we can warp to 4 times speed. Watch this comes back. I'll from the orbit view, from the map view, I'm going to see this where our path will start descending. We'll start moving this way, eastwards on the planet. As the drag starts acting on our craft. So I will sometimes do a burn on our way back in order to try and get us as close to the space center as possible. So I do a little bit of burn now. You can see the throttle's moved, and then it'll move our position where we're going to, our path. What mods do you use? I really need to make a mod list. I don't use many mods at all, but I do have some mods. Like the one that's broken here that keeps spawning icons is a lone mod because I ran out of money at one point. So we got the escape mod is one I worked on. Waterfall is the alternative engine effects. That's just a mod for planning maneuvers, which I haven't worked out how to use. The 3 screens there is actually a mod that exposes the data from inside Kerbal Space Program to apps outside of Kerbal Space Program, and that's what runs the Kerbal chat up here. And notes, the notes mods down there is one of the ones one of my viewers has worked on and they wanted me to test. And the last one is Science Alert, which just puts off alert when there's any in-game science to collect. The only structural mods I got are science experiments, which aren't on board this, and the aviation lights, and that's it. The little exit sign there is the mod that I've made or I'm working on. If you've got any Kerbals on board, you click that and the Kerbals will jump out and fire their parachutes. We usually get closer to KSC than this, to the Space Center. I know there's a lot of parachutes, but then the idea with this deorbiting probe is it can bring back much larger rocket stages and pieces of junk and all sorts. But there's so much to Kerbal. There's so much to Kerbal. You just keep experimenting and making things, and there's a whole plethora of mods. And there's an active mod community. Even though the game is not being actively developed, there's a huge active mod community as well. Okay. This little button up here just shows our altitude relative to sea level and altitude relative to the land. It's like a radio altimeter. Here we go, bump, on the ground. Right. Extend solar panel. We can, what I'll do now is just a straight recovery, but because this is a career game, if we had got closer to KSC, we'd have more money back from recovered parts. And I've actually built a whole fleet of vehicles which can drive out here, fly out here, even boats that can pick up stages like this down and take them back to the Space Center. But that's it's going to take too long to do that at the moment, so I just wanted to mention that. So we'll just do a straight recovery. So we'll only have about 90% of our recovered funds per parts. Yeah, 272 meters per second relative to target as the KSC. Yeah, I know it's a bit strange that is. I'm not sure if that's a bug or what. Hang on, my cooling fan stopped, so I'm just going to borrow one of my things. I'm just plugging in my cooling fan. So, right. Yeah, we've only got 97.2% of value, whereas if we got that from the runway, if we recovered it from the runway, we would have had 100% of value on recovered parts. That's probably orbit. Right. What's the thing we were working? Well, we did a missile launcher the other day. It didn't work very well, but it was a fun stream. I mean, we did it like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. See if I can find it. Kind of want to make my channel an education channel about physics and maths. That sounds good. I mean, although there's other channels like that, there's always more you can add. Even if you've always got your own angle and to approach a subject. I do encourage it. If you want to do that, KHG Gaming, do try it. Right. No, the target is the KSC and the nav ball is set relative to target. Yeah, there's a problem when you're relative to target. It's like it only works relative to target when you're in space, doesn't it? What did we call it? Did we call it missile? Missile launcher. Oh, we got this thing. This thing. A channel like Space Dock. Right, we got this thing, KSG Gaming. We got these little... In order to get the centre of gravity further forward, you got ore tanks on it, and I stuck little solid rockets, solid rocket motors. There's plenty of free editors. I mean, you can always you'll learn. Just experiment. Put your mind towards it. I mean, you might not be able to get. Maybe your first video is not that good, but at least if you keep trying, you'll get it. I mean, I edit my videos with what is it, DaVinci Resolve, and I only use the free version of DaVinci Resolve. But there are other free editors out there. What is it, DaVinci Resolve? And I only use the free version of DaVinci Resolve. But there are other free editors out there. What is it, DaVinci Resolve? And I only use the free version of DaVinci Resolve. But there are other free editors out there. I mean, I used to do non-linear editing with Virtual Dub, and before that, I used to do tape-to-tape editing. I actually had a qualification. I did a course on tape-to-tape editing and non-linear tape-to-tape editing, and I've also done audio editing on a tape machine, a reel-to-reel tape machine, where you physically cut the tape and have to tape it back together. And that's what they did with audio editing a long time in the past. But these rockets don't work very well. It was just a silly experiment we were doing on stream. They don't work that well at all. You'll see now. We'll fire a rocket. They don't work very well, but I mean, you could sort of do your own design. I'm sure you could do better. I mean, you have a greater interest in missiles, expendable rockets. Yeah, we had them at a lower angle originally, right? So we put the brakes on. F5 is save, right? So the first stage will do that, do the uncoupling and the rocket motor at the same time, and then we'll fire the other one. Ready? Okay. Yeah, they're not great, are they? They're not great. Are you ready for the other one? Yeah. Needs work. Needs work. Yeah, DaVinci Resolve is an editing software that's available for free. Thing is, with DaVinci Resolve is a really professional editor, and it's used for proper films and that. It's got a steep learning curve, but it's one that a lot of people use because it's got a free tier. Yeah, those missiles work technically. I mean, it does work. It just doesn't go very far. A probe core with SAS only. I don't know if because if you separate it and having a probe core on it, because I was trying to just which one fires first? Because I was the reason why I wanted it to be neutrally stabilized. That's why I've got the ore tank on there with some ore in it, so it puts the center of gravity in front of the center of pressure. It's like, where's the structural debris? Where's the structural thingy? There. If we do that, and then stick the ore tank on there and try that. Let's try that. But once we've separated it, how do we ensure that the control is... Because I want it to be passive. I've seen people get their Kerbals out of landers and the SAS still keeps them upright. Oh, maybe, yeah. Well, Lucas could be right. You could both be right, actually. You could both be right. Well, I'll tell you what, let's put a probe core on one of them then. Let's put a probe core on one of them and see what difference it makes. I mean, they've got different solid rocket motors. Stick a probe core on there. Where's a probe core? A probe core. Right, now, that's the probe core's the wrong way around. There you go. Alright, we're doing an experiment. One's got a probe core, one doesn't. So I'd ideally like it to be a passive missile. No one that just fire and forget. And as long as it's stable, then with the central pressure further back and it's got enough lift and central of gravity in front, you shouldn't need to have to control it. How do you tell if the probe core is upside down? There's these little chips on the front. The layout of these little computer chips is different on one side than it is the other. Like you got one where you like 3 and there's one with 2. This is the one with 3 sets of computer chips, and that's how I'm telling. Okay, stick the SAS on F5. Right, let's see what difference this makes. It's still curving over, although it does go further. It does go further. How do you set the probe core to SAS? Well, I just turned SAS on, and I assume that the probe core might hold SAS. I don't know. And that's what we can't ensure. And once that leaves the vehicle, are we going to ensure that the probe core is working? So if we jump to it, then I don't have control over it. I would rather it to be fire and forget. Yeah, SAS is on, isn't it? There's no power. There's no power. Should there be power going to it? Should we have batteries aboard? We'll stick some batteries on it and see what happens. We'll stick a battery on it and see what happens. Also, I think the central pressure needs to be back a bit further back. Lithium munition. There are batteries on missiles and stuff, aren't there? How they power the guidance? Plus, one of the visual mods I've installed probably changes the textures. Maybe 4 stationary solar panels. Oh, hang on. Lucas was talking earlier. I wasn't reading his posts. How do you tell if probe core is upside down? I said that. I think I will stick to a trial and error and sometimes using retrograde to raise my orbit. Okay. It's a workaround. It's a workflow workaround. I mean, that happens with real spacecraft, doesn't it? Where you'll have an RCS block out or a component doesn't work and you've got to use the other components to get something to work properly. So I wonder if we should raise the amount of ore in there as well. 150. 150. Because that'll move the centre of gravity a little bit further forward. Right, we wanted to stick a battery on it. Battery electrical. Right, see what that does. Save. Launch. Oh, I see what Lucas was trying to say now. Yeah, you might not be able to see the chips on the probe cores because if you've changed the textures, yeah, you might not be able to see the chips on the probe cores. Tell which way around it is. Honestly, that's why I installed the aviation lights mod, is so that you have a green light on one side, a red light on the other, and you can see where front, down, left, right, back, front is. Because it got frustrating. I have to keep maneuvering stuff around once you're in orbit and find out, oh, which way is it going? Which way is it going? F5. Okay, SAS is enabled. If we hit space, and yeah, see, it's working. It's working. So SAS is working. Well, went much further that time. Much further. Let's go back to the Space Center. Remember, we changed the amount of ore in your tank as well as added power for the SAS. So we've worked out that SAS is turned on once the missile does leave. Leave the launcher. Come on, load. It's taking a while to load. Right click the probe and set it to SAS. Well, we haven't got a probe on this one. This is the one we didn't stick a probe core on. So all we did with this one was stick extra ore in a tank and see what difference it makes. Not much difference. Right, if we go F9, but this probe core doesn't have very much reaction wheels. The reaction wheels on this probe core are really weak. There's no way of controlling this. So my next idea would be to stick fins on it, stick movable surfaces on there. But I think I know what you mean in saying control from here, right, and then hit space. Reaction control wheel. I'd rather have moving surfaces on it, I think. If we cover that. Okay. Load, load, load. Come on, load. We need a slideshow by here, don't we? Pictures. I did try making the mod, but it didn't work very well. Okay, come on, load. Yeah, I've been streaming for 2 hours 17 minutes. The longer, that's one of the bugs with Kerbal Space Program. The longer you play, the longer loading screens are. And I have been known other streamers to exit the game halfway through a stream, then reload it. You watched the Backrooms movie yet? No, I haven't watched it. It's too scary for me. I mean, I like liminal spaces and I love Googie architecture and things like that, and liminal architecture and liminal spaces, but I don't want to watch the movie. I don't want to watch the movie. Right, the idea I've got is to stick moving surfaces, not like that. Sit on there, this. Like that on there. Like that. You might say, well, that looks stupid, doesn't it? That looks so stupid, having moving surfaces as main wings. But what I was trying to say earlier, HKG, is there's actual missiles, a lot of surface-to-air missiles actually, that have this as a control method, where the whole main wing moves and the rear surfaces don't. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of jump scares in there. But yeah, there's actual... Anyway, going back to missiles. This is how the number of real missiles are actually controlled. They have the main wings move. Like my favourite missile, the Bristol Bloodhound, for instance. Put a bit more ore in it to make sure, because the centre of pressure is moved up. So I've put a bit more ore in the tank to move the centre of gravity a bit further forward. Save that. And launch, and we see what happens. Or we could stick some wings on here to keep the test fair, couldn't we? Stick some passive wings. You're going to keep the test fair. I'll load. Come on, load. This is where we need more slideshow. I mean, I click slideshow by here and show pictures of the cat while it's loading. Right, put the brakes on, turn SAS on. Jump scares frequency is very low. I still don't want to watch it. Okay, let's try this now. See, the wings are twitching. Wings are twitching. The wings are moving. See, the wings are moving. But not enough. Not enough, really. Do you think it got any further? Yeah, a tiny bit, wasn't it? Tiny bit. Yeah, like I said, the main wing control method does confuse me a little bit. I still don't know what's the advantage of having main wings move as a control method. SAM, yeah, a surface-to-air missile, because that control method is actually used on surface-to-air missiles. I've seen it used on surface-to-air missiles. So let's recover that. We'll try it again. Go into the spaceplane hangar. Okay. See, this is a Bristol Bloodhound. This is a Bristol Bloodhound. And there's the main wings. The main wings, they're the main wings are the main control surfaces, whereas the rear wings are there and they're fixed. And these fins here are only with the solid motors, with the 4 solid motors, and they drop off a few seconds after launch. And that there and that there are the ram jets, and they're the sustainer motors. That's the way the Bloodhound works. Back from seeing the strawberry moon. There's a strawberry moon out tonight, is there? Was that a description of a moon? Change mass. Could just do that. Okay, we'll try that. See what difference that makes. Oh, at least in the States, in America, okay. Yeah, I'm in South Wales. And let me just check my phone. It's currently 2:26 in the morning here. I've been streaming for 2 hours 24 minutes. I think I'm gonna go and take a break and not shortly anyway. Very red. So is that where there's light like that's filtered through the atmosphere and it hits the moon and makes it red? 9:26 p.m. It's like the light is the moon's reflection is travelling through more atmosphere, which turns it red. Right, stick a SAS on, stick the brakes on, F5. Now Valentina's always sat there. Valentina is really enthusiastic about this thing. Right, if we hit space, right, that one's. Oh, I didn't check the staging, did I? Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Yeah, gonna go bed soon. I'm gonna go bed soon. Well, I've been asleep already, so but I'll go take a break anyway. The red wavelength passes through better than the blue. Yeah, yeah. Right, let's check the staging. Right, that engine there, that decoupler there. So we stick that engine. Go there, right? So there's that decoupler, that engine. Okay. All right, F5. Okay. All right, this is the same as this one's basically the same as it was before. So it gets, say, almost past the last radio antenna. Okay. So let's go back to the Space Center. Oh, thank you for the sub. Thank you for the sub, HKG Gaming. Well, we're like almost at 780, is it? Or 795 subs, I think. I haven't got the figures in front of me. I don't look at the number of viewers or the subs or anything in front of me while I'm streaming in case it influences what I do on stream. But thank you for subbing. I'll check it out. I always check it after anyway. Hope I can be entertaining because we make a lot of silly things in game anyway. 796. Thank you for the feedback. Right, let's launch this again. Fly, and then we'll see what the other one does. Yeah, 4 away from 800. I haven't streamed Kerbal for a week because I usually stream Kerbal every other night, and for the last week it's been really warm here, and I played Shashingo instead, and I had that on the channel. But I might be going back to college in September. I still haven't got the confirmation of my application, of my getting in. So I may not be streaming as much at the end of the year. But I'll still be making videos and probably have a lot of shorts of trains, so I travel on trains into the city every day. Right, let's try this now. We've moved the control surfaces moved to the back. SAS is on. Right, let's go. Oh, that's a bit better. That's it. That's more like it. That's more like it. Oh, Lucas too. Oh, look, that's brilliant. There it goes. No, I don't play Minecraft. I know a lot of people who do, but no, I don't play Minecraft. Look at this. It's brilliant. This is brilliant. I don't play that many games actually, and because I don't want to play that many games anymore, to be honest, because I want to concentrate on a lot of my other projects. Because I've got 4 YouTube channels and lots of other projects in my life as well, not just playing Kerbal Space Program. Well, that was a decent test, wasn't it? I got far. I got a good way. Anyway, what's the time? 2:32 in the morning, and should I take a break now? I've been streaming for 2 hours 30 minutes. Actually, I want to take out one of the aircraft and do a couple of circuits with an aircraft just to end the stream. If it loads, if it ever loads. No Man's Sky. Yeah, No Man's Sky is different. It's a lot like it's not a physics simulator, for instance, but it's a good adventure game, especially if you want to play on your own. I know you can play it with friends, but I've got a lot of hours in No Man's Sky because I was in a bad place mentally when it came out, and I pre-ordered it, and it's a game I don't regret pre-ordering. I know a lot of people said that about No Man's Sky, but I thought No Man's Sky when it first came out was brilliant, and it was a good way when I was in a bad place mentally to just focus on the game and just play it for hours and hours and hours on my own every night. And yeah, No Man's Sky is, I've got nothing but good words for No Man's Sky. Absolutely brilliant game. Absolutely brilliant game. All right. Make an airbase on Jupiter. Floating base in the air on Jupiter. Or on a gas planet. I'm looking for a nice, easy to fly aircraft. That's the one. Exit tester. That's the one. Let's do a couple of circuits with this. This is a nice plane which I built that's just really easy to fly. Stick a Kerbal in there. Oh, Valentina's been... Excuse me, stick another inexperienced pilot on there. Leno. Aldrin. Leno can go in. Have you ever played Stellaris? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I don't play that many games, and I haven't got that many games. Well, it's not nowhere near as many as other people anyway. I mean, I play a lot of Kerbal Space Program. I'm nearing 1,800 hours on Kerbal Space Program. Let me check. Where's Steam? I've got 1,795 hours on Kerbal Space Program. Right, put the brakes on. F5. Right, now when I build aircraft, I don't use SAS. I try to make sure that the central lift, central gravity, central thrust is all nice and stable, make sure it's stable in the air, and I'll use a bit of trim, hold Alt, tap S a few times to put some trim on the control surfaces. Strategy game with the ruler of a nation in space. So there's a lot of diplomacy involved and things like that, as well as war fighting. And although I've got 1,800 hours in Kerbal Space Program, it's only my second highest number of hours in a game. The game I've got the most hours in is Company of Heroes 2, where I've got well over 2,200 hours. See, nice and stable. So I've got no SAS on, and it's nice and stable. Hands off all the control, nice and stable. We worked out the other week that if you recover stuff on the island runway, you still get 100% for recovered parts. But very funny the way there's a bazillion in DLCs. People mention other games, Stellaris. I mean, I've heard of Stellaris, but I don't actually know anything about the game. We might be travelling too fast to land at the island. It randomly generates a system, and if you choose certain factions, you'll have a starting system that's the same. Thing is, we'll get games like that. It's like Homeworld, for instance. I really didn't like Homeworld. I tried and tried and tried. I was never able to complete Homeworld, and it really got on my nerves. I ended up rage quitting and never playing it again. And that was Homeworld 1. So no, I'm a bit weary of games like that, because that's what it sounds like, similar to Homeworld. Flare. Well, the sync rate and the that sort of sound effects are from one of the mods that Gary Blue made. He's one of my viewers. One of the things that annoyed me about Homeworld is the resources from the level, like the game level you finish, needs to get carried over to the next one. And if you don't have enough resources from doing, like, there's 10 sort of worlds or maps, and if you get to the 10th map without enough resources, you can't complete it, and that just got on my nerves. I had far more enjoyment out of Company of Heroes, to be honest. I mean, like I said, I got 2,200 hours in Company of Heroes. And I keep getting tempted to go back to Company of Heroes, to be honest, but then that's another game that got me really riled up and got me annoyed after a while. In fact, I've rage quit a number of times. But something relaxing like Kerbal Space Program, No Man's Sky. I think that's the thing to play. No more stressing games anymore. Now that's another game that I used to enjoy playing, is Ground Control. I think I got that somewhere, I don't know. Should be on Steam. There were sequels to Ground Control, weren't there? I never played any of those. Sounds like there's a lot of strategy in Stellaris. Then sounds like there's more strategy in those sort of games than others. Take it. Do you like incremental? I don't understand what you mean. Is that a game or is that incremental playstyle? Incrementals. I don't understand what you're trying to say. You have to manage a lot of stuff. Genre. You have to manage a lot of stuff. I don't know, when I played Company of Heroes, sometimes when you have a lot of stuff on the field, a lot of units on the game, there is a lot of switching between the units, and the micromanagement does get a bit over the top at times. Now, I did start playing Halo Wars, actually. I did start playing Halo Wars, and I just got annoyed with that. I think I only ever played it once, even though I've still got it installed, because it felt like the actions I was taking in the game made no difference. So that's like totally like, I preferred Company of Heroes, to be honest. Company of Heroes isn't really safe for streaming on YouTube, because there's a lot of swearing in the game, so I don't think it's safe for YouTube. Especially the engineers, the sappers for the British forces on Company of Heroes, because, well, they're Welsh like me, and all they do is swear. Oh, floater. There we go. Yeah, flying this with a keyboard, although I do have a controller, I got annoyed with my controller constantly disconnecting, my wireless controller, so I just fly with a keyboard now. Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't want to risk it. I don't want to risk it by having a lot of swearing on. No, I could do a search actually and see if other people play Company of Heroes on YouTube. Anyway, I'm going to take a break, I think. We've been streaming for 2 hours 43 minutes, and it's 2:45 in the morning. Do you have a USB? Got lots of USBs. I got a USB stick in front of me, USB memory stick in front of me. It's a Crucial Micron memory stick, and it holds just 256 megabytes, not gigabytes, megabytes, and that's what I've got in my hand right now. And it's USB 1 only, and it's got to be more than 20 years old. What's the game name? What game name? I'm not going to play that many more games in future, to be honest, because if I want to go back into college and I really want to concentrate on that, and I do have 4 YouTube channels and I'd rather concentrate on them, I'm playing Kerbal Space Program because people seem to enjoy it and I enjoy it as well, and it is like a relaxation away from other things I've got. The one I was mentioning was Company of Heroes 2. Company of Heroes 2. Company of Heroes 2. Company Funeral. Company of Heroes 2. Hang on, let me just bring it in. It's on Steam, 75% off this week. Yeah, you need to enter your. I'll bring up the. Mute the tab. Yeah, it's Company of Heroes 2. Company of Heroes 2. Though there is a sequel, Company of Heroes 3, but this is the game I've got 2,200 hours in, and I was tempted to go back to, but I probably won't. It's a real-time strategy game, World War II real-time strategy game. This is the game I've got the most hours in. But I probably won't play this because there's a lot of swearing in the units. Just every single unit swears and effing and blinding here and there. But it's an enjoyable game. But I probably won't play it. Anyway, I'm going to take a break. Oh, the accent makes it hard for me to hear. I'm a bit screwed. Well, my accent? Sorry, yeah. There are Welsh units in the game, actually, in Company of Heroes. And they got really strong Welsh accents, far more stronger than me. Anyway, like I said, we've been streaming for 2 hours 46 minutes, so I'm going to take a break. It's 2:48 in the morning. So good night, good morning. Thank you for being here. Oh, I haven't streamed for a week. What I used to do is go through the names of the chatters who've been chatting in the evening. I'll just quickly do that now. KHG Gaming has been chatting. We had Lucas. We had a couple of bots earlier, or possible bots. Wen came in. We had Polish Cow was here, Real Rocky, Jackson Empire. Gary Blue came in for a bit. Yeah, we had a few chatters tonight. Okay, yeah, I'm going to stop streaming.